Hello everyone, I am Ashutosh and welcome to yet another tutorial for the Microsoft Intune. And today we will be talking about the compliance policy, like what it is and how to create it. So first of all, let's check the agenda for the today. Today we will be basically talking about three things: the overview of compliance policy, then the prerequisites, as in what are the requirements for the compliance policy in Intune, and then the supported platform. Along with that, we will also create the compliance policy on Android, iOS, Android for work, Windows 8. Yeah, that would be all. Windows 8 and phone I mean 8.1 version. So we will be doing the compliance policy creation, as in how to create it and all. So to start with, first of all, we all should understand that what is the compliance, as this word suggests, that this is the set of rules to make sure that one is eligible for any particular thing. So in technical terms or in organizational terms, we can say that compliance policy or compliance requirement are essentially rules such as requiring a device PIN or requiring encryption. Device compliance policies define these rules and settings that a device must follow to be considered as compliant or to be considered as eligible for any certain activities. Now, to get more details on that, you can just open this link, that is portal.azure.com and all these things. So, but not really, this is something else. You can get this one. Yeah, that's the one. Okay, this is the link. It will be in the description field, so you can get more details on that. Now, to start with, the compliance policy blade in Intune has information, as in, let's open this. It has an overview, then a manage option. There are three in manage: policies, notification, location, and after that there's monitor, and then setup, and then help and support. So from help and support, you can create ticket with Microsoft Intune team, Intune support actually. So let's get to the overview. Under overview, you will get all the information, as in what are the devices which are enrolled, what are the policies which you have created, and how many devices are compliant or not compliant. There would be a chart, a pie chart over here in this section, in this very section. Now under policy compliance, you will get the information, as in what are the policies, how many devices are compliant, and how many devices are not compliant. Then you can set compliance, setting compliance and all. Well, that would be a different thing. Now let's see how to create a policy for any provider platforms. But before that, we need to know that what are the prerequisites to it. So to use device compliance policies, there are two things required. First, use the following subscriptions. Subscriptions as in license. So there are two licenses which are required for a compliance policy to be created in Intune. One is Intune license, second one is Azure Active Directory AD Premium. So most of the licenses which has Intune included generally comes with Azure Active Directory Premium. But again, you can get more details on license in my first video in this complete list. So you can get the licenses information and what are the licenses which has all the other platforms. Now, after that, we need to know that what are the supported platforms in Intune for the compliance policy. Okay, so there are basically six platforms which are supported. One is Android, as we all know, Android like mobile phones, Samsung devices, or any other device which has Android operating system. Second one, iOS, any Apple device, any Apple phone or tablet. Mac OS, so Mac OS like Mac devices, Windows 8.1, Windows Phone 8.1, and then Windows 10. So we will be talking about all the other platforms except Windows 10, because Windows 10 has, in Windows 10 policy has a lot of options, and there are few things which needs to be explained in detail. So we will take it to the next lesson or the next tutorial. So after that, yeah, to make sure that the devices are compliant, or to check if the devices are compliant, we need to make sure that the devices are enrolled with the Intune. Now, how to enroll it and what are the prerequisites, or in fact, yeah, how to enroll the device, we will discuss that in next video, in upcoming videos actually. Now, devices enroll to one user or device with no primary users are supported. So if there is a device which already has a user enrolled, so that device won't be re-enrolled unless you remove the enrollment first. And I believe that's self-explanatory. So that can be done. Now let's see how to create compliance policy for Android and then iOS and then other platforms except Windows 10. To check that what are the policies there, you need to go to policies under manage. In here, you will see that what are the policies which are already created. Next is to create a policy, go to create policy, create a policy like ASDF, and then, I mean, whatever name you want to put in, then select the platform. Platform is Android in our case. There are three options basically in this blade under create policy blade. One is setting. It has device health, device properties, system security. Then location. You can configure location in Azure and then you can add it or select the location in this area. Third one is action for non-compliance, as in the device, if the device is not compliant, what would be done with the device or what will be the status of the device. Under settings, there are device health. So first, let's get into the device health. First of all, rooted devices, that means the devices which are uh, rooted in Android, like for any debugging purpose or something like that. So if you want to block such devices, you can click block, or if you do not want to block any of the devices, you can just simply click not configured. Then require the devices to be at or under the device threat level. So device threat level is defined by the um, antivirus program or anti-malware program which is installed on the phone, on the device. So you can select it like secured, low, medium, high. It goes the if you select the high device threat level, that means all the viruses or any, if there is any issue with the device security, that won't be counted. So it goes upside down. Like if you select low, that means even if the slightest virus or any slight issue is found with the device threat level, the device will be marked as not compliant. Okay, that's all about it. Next, Google Play Protect. Google Play service is configured if you want to do it. Require up-to-date security provider. Require whichever you want to select. This is basically, I mean, mostly most of the users they select the rooted devices only. Okay, then you click OK. I will block the rooted devices. The next thing is device properties, as in which operating system you want to allow and which you do not. To check that what is the version which is allowed in Intune or which can be configured in Intune, you select here the minimum. Here is Android 4.0 and above, or Samsung Knox 4.0 or above. The maximum operating system, anything above 4 or the latest one can be configured here. For example, if I want to make sure that any Android before 5.0.0 is not allowed, more than 7.0.0, as currently in the market it's going into 8 series. So I want to make sure that any device which has Android version 5.0 to 7.0 are allowed to enroll. That's it. I will do it. Click OK. Then under system security, you will get all the password related things. If you want to require a password to unlock the mobile device, click require. Minimum password lengths. For example, I want to make sure that only 4 characters are or 4 digits, or yeah, the 4 is the password length. Password type, device default is basically the PIN. So I will do at least numeric, or yeah, at least numeric. Anything like 1 2 3 4 can be configured. Minimum minutes of inactivity before password is required. Like if I leave my phone unattended for 1 minute or 2 minutes or 3 minutes, six, that would be there. I won't configure it because by default, if you lock it, like let's keep it, let's leave it for the device. Password expiration days. I want to make sure that after 90 days, the password is expired and the user are prompted to change the new password. Number of previous password, 2. Anything before, I mean, two passwords, two previous passwords cannot be used. Encryption. If you want to make sure that device encryption is there, you can select require. Require encryption of data storage on device. This compliance check is supported for device with OS version 4.0 and above or not. So basically all the Android platforms are supported using this feature. Device security, if you want to block apps from unknown sources, which is by default enabled on devices. But again, if you want to make sure that it overrides the or any changes which you have made on device, click block. That means any application from any different or unknown download sources will be blocked. Company portal app runtime integrity, as in there is no change in the source code of company portal. If you want to make sure, you can click required. Basically, it's not there, it's not required because changing company portal source is not what do we call it? It's not that easy. Checks that the company portal app has a default runtime environment installed, is properly signed, and is not in debug mode and wasn't installed from known source. Simple, as I said earlier. Now, block USB debugging on device. That means if you are using your device for the testing purpose and you connect your device with the USB cable to test any Android application on the phone, if you want to block it, you can block it. Minimum security patch level, you can just simply leave it, click OK. That's it. That would be all. Location, as I said, it needs to be configured in Azure. That's a different story altogether. So that's not required, or if you want, or if your organization really require it. So make sure that you have a location activated or you have a location configured in your Azure portal. Then you can select any of the locations or describe locations here. Then action for not compliance. This tab is basically used for grace period. Grace period is actually a time which you give your employees to make sure that the device is compliant within a certain amount of days. In the meantime, by that time, your device would be able to access company resources. Let me just change it. Come on. So mark your device as compliant. Not compliant, I'll make it 10. So after 10 days, if my device is still not compliant, the access to the company data will be revoked and then the device will have to be compliant, and that's it. That's all about it. You create it. Now, as you can see, ASDF compliance policy is created. The next page or the next prompt it shows is for the assignment. Assignment is like where do you want to assign this policy to, or who do you want this policy to be assigned to. Click assignment, select the group which you want to include. In this case, I have a test group. I will assign this compliance policy on this one. Select, and then if you click evaluate, that will show that approximately how many users will be impacted. You click evaluate, it says approximately 1 users will be impacted. As I have 1 user, that would be fine. Done. You save it. I'm sorry about the background noise, I always do, but yeah, that's a lot. You click save. Assignment saved successfully. Now that would be all. If you want to check that what is the device status, under monitor you can check if any device is enrolled or not. User setting, or sorry, user status, if the user who has enrolled the device or what is the current status of that user. Pre-setting status, yeah, not required that much. You can leave it. The next thing which we are looking for today is the test iOS device. test underscore iOS. Platform, we will select iOS device. It has only two options. The location option is not available for iOS devices. Under settings, the same thing. Email. The first thing is email. This says require mobile devices to have a managed email profile. That means uh, if any organization requires that the device which is being enrolled should have a configured or managed email profile which can be configured from Intune itself and be pushed on the user's devices. If you want that to be a compliance criteria, you can select require and click OK. By this way, if you do not have any email profile or any managed email profile on the device will be marked as not compliant. So unless you have a plan to deploy the email profiles on the devices, please do not select this option. Next, device health. Same thing. Jailbroken devices is actually a name for the rooted devices on iOS. You want to block jailbroken? Yes, I want to block it. Require the devices to be at or under device threat level, the same as Android. You can select any of it. Click OK. Now device properties the same, iOS version, which minimum iOS version or maximum iOS version. The current iOS version is 8.0 and above. The minimum is 8.0 and above. That's what it shows. But currently, the iOS 9 is also not supported. Okay, so in order to even enroll the device with the company new updated company portal app, which is available in the App Store, the minimum iOS version must be 10.0 and above. This has changed. I'm not sure why it is not updated yet, but it's 110 and above. Let me show you. Minimum uh, iOS version for the company portal 3.3. As you can see, let me just show you how to use a 10.3. I'm not sure if it's available or if I'm able to find it. iOS version for the enrollment. Yeah, we need to check. So as you can see, the current version is, let's see, what is the current version? Never mind, leave it. I'm not sure if I would be able to install it or not, but I won't be able to. So it's 3.3 actually. As you can see, 3.4 right now, it has updated one notch. So the minimum version should be 10.0. Okay, please just make sure that that is the current Android version or current iOS version on your devices. Next is system security. The same as the previous one, the password. You can select anything, require a password, simple password block, minimum password length, required password, and so on and so forth. I'm sorry, it's thunder right now. It's raining a lot here. Click OK. Then action for non-compliance, same as Android, the grace period. You can select anything whichever you want. Now, once you create it, you will be asked for the assignment of the policy where you want to assign. So let me just show you. I create it and then I will assign it to the same group. Okay, so please do not confuse that this group has the same user, this group has the user which has the Android ones. So I have applied two policies on the same group. This works in a different way. For example, not an example, for instance, if a user has an Android and iOS devices both and he is in the same group, so if he tries to enroll his Android device, so Android policies will be applicable, and if he is trying to enroll an iOS device, so iOS policies or Windows policies for that matter will take effect. So The Intune segregates itself, or like which policies are to be applied on which device. It detects the platform for the user and then applies the policies accordingly. So there would be no conflict, rest assured. Now, I do not want to do this. Now let's create another policy that would be for Android for work. Android for work. Okay. Android for work is actually Android Enterprise now, wherein you will get a separate space on your phone that would be marked as for work only, and it has a brief. It will have a briefcase on it, just like this. Mm, Android for work icon. How do you say it? How do we? That's how it will look. It has small briefcase. So if you see the briefcase, blue or red, then understand that this device is Android for work or Android Enterprise enabled. So Android Enterprise, same thing, the same policies are there except location, device health, the same five options. May not the same, but somewhat same. Okay. Rooted devices, block required devices to markets compliant. No big deal, no difference. The same version, Android 4.0. Okay. Minimum OS version compliance, yeah, the same. Android 4.0 would be minimum requirement, but yeah, you can select it. Then system security, same as Android. The password, require a password to unlock. Require encryption, the same as Android. Device security, block apps from known sources. Everything is similar. It's just the devices will have a work icon to distinguish between Android or Android enrollment or Android for work enrollment or Android enterprise enrollment in this case. All right. Now the next thing is Mac operating system. It has less options. Device health, the same rooted devices or device system integrity. Okay, yes, I'm sorry. Operating system does not, computer operating system does not have the rooted or jailbroken. It has system integrity protection, as in the device has the same certificate, same digitally signed certificates which was delivered by the organizer or delivered by the manufacturing company. If you want that to be enabled, you can do it, require or not. That's fine. That's up to you. Properties, the minimum OS version, maximum OS version, select as per your requirement. Simple. Now device security, system security, password, no big deal, the same as iOS. Encryption, if you want to make sure that the storage encryption is enabled on Mac operating systems, you can select require. Or if you don't want it, you can forget it. The next is device security. It has firewall, incoming connection, stealth mode, depend all firewall. If you want to make sure that the firewall is enabled on the device, select enable, and the incoming connection, block, enable, or whichever suits your requirement. You can do it. I don't want to enable any firewall in this one. That's it. The next option, action for non-compliance, same as earlier versions or earlier platforms. This is just for the grace period, and that's all about Mac operating system. For Mac, after Mac, we have Windows Phone 8.1. It has the same. I'm repeating myself, the same configurations as other platforms, except one or two changes. Device properties, minimum OS version for mobile devices, maximum OS version for mobile devices. I do not see any relevance here because it says Windows Phone 8.1. Let's see. Oh yeah, right. It's major minor build version. So it's something like 8.91.1 and something. That's how it is. Okay. So you can select the minimum and maximum mobile versions. Then system security, same as previous, password and encryption. So if you click require encryption, the encryption would be enabled on the device, and that's it. After that, you will get the action for non-compliance, the grace period, in other words. Then the next operating system which we are talking about is Windows 8.1 and later. Did I select Windows 10? Nah, 8.1. Okay. Settings. Same and same settings as Windows Phone. Similar settings. There is no change in the compliance policy for Windows Phone 8.1 and Windows 8.1 and older or later. That's it. That's all about it. So once you have created all the policies, you can assign it to the individual groups. If you want to exclude any group for that matter, I'll go to one of the policies, go to assignment and exclude. That's it. So this is used, for example, if you want to make sure, or if you have a group of 5 users who has Android and iOS devices both, or you want to exclude them from iOS groups, individual 5 users. So you can create a group with 5 users, you can click exclude, select the group which you want to exclude, and done. So a particular policy which you have excluded them from will not be applicable on them. Rest of the policies will be there as it is. So that would be all about the compliance policy for now. In case you have any questions, I would appreciate, in fact, if you can share them, or if you can just yeah, you can mention that in comment section, and I will try to answer all the questions as much as possible, and or I will suggest you, or in case you have any question like how to do this and what would be the best for your organization, you can just simply enter that information in the comment section. I will be more than happy, or in fact I will be available to answer your all the questions, all the queries as per your request. So for now, that would be all. And thank you so much for your time. The next video will be about, that's volume 2, uh, create compliance policy on Windows 10 phone and PC. Action for not compliance, I have already covered this one. And the grace period. These two are the same which I have covered. Now the only thing which is remaining here is create compliance policy on Windows 10 phone and PC. After that, after the next video, we will be talking about policy conflict, monitoring compliance policy, and what are the audit logs. So that's not a huge topic, it's just quite few things there. All right. Now, thank you so much for your time. If you have given me this much of time, I would appreciate if you can take a little more time to subscribe and press the bell icon so that you would be aware that when the next video comes. And also please like and share as much as possible so that I would be of more assistance, and you can help your peers, your friends, your colleagues, or your partners, anyone who are in requirement in some with some help on this compliance policy on with Microsoft Intune. Thank you so much. Adios. Good day and have a happy week ahead. Take care. Bye bye.